Hi, this is Zach with Warner Wound. Today I have a review of the Citizen Nighthawk. This is a watch that's been out for a few years, but we thought we'd review it because it offers some very unique features at a great price. The watch costs $237, and for that you're getting a dual-time quartz watch with a Citizen Eco Drive movement, which is actually a solar powered movement, so it charges via sunlight, which is great, so you never have to change a battery on this, which is also environmentally friendly, hence the name Eco Drive. It has a slide rule bezel, which we'll talk about in actually a second video, but it's a very informative and kind of a cool tool to have on your watch. And it's very cool looking. You know, it's a kind of a modern Pilot with a lot of details, a lot of features on it. It definitely kind of attracts attention because it's got such a busy dial. And like I said, for the price, it's really a good find. The Citizen Nighthawk has a 41mm wide stainless steel case. It's about 12 millimeters thick, and it has a decent amount of weight to it for a quartz watch, but it's not too heavy at all. I really like the design of the case. It has a kind of a very geometric shape to it that kind of lends it to being a more contemporary watch. You can see that the lugs are kind of triangular. They have these crown guards that are also kind of geometric shapes. It's a cool, it has a nice look to it. Clearly it is like an all dial kind of a watch, so that's the main focus point, but the case, adds some interesting kind of pilot, I don't know, kind of airplane almost aesthetic. To me this reminds me of some kind of stealth plane. There's no real finishing on it. You can see there's some little like kind of striation marks from machining. It's very unadorned in a way that's almost nice, actually. There's two crowns on the watch. You have this crown at about 8 o'clock, which is for turning the internal bezel, and it has a nice knurled finish on it. And then you have at 3 o'clock your standard crown, and that's a screw-down crown that also is knurled, and it has this little Nighthawk logo on it. The case features 22mm lugs. One thing to note, the lugs on this watch are kind of very short, and they won't fit very thick straps or NATO straps. The dial of the Citizen Nighthawk is quite eye-catching. It has a ton to look at. There's a lot of different indices, markings, information really to sort through, and at first it can be overwhelming. It is a very busy dial, but everything's broken up and organized in a very intelligent way, so when you're using the watch it's actually readable at a glance. Now just to kind of look at all these different features, you have on this internal bezel and immediately on the outer periphery of the kind of flat part of the dial, just all this information relating to the use of the slide rule. So there's a logarithmic scale, there's different conversion points, lots of tick marks. This is a lot to look at, and it's actually a very complicated piece of equipment essentially, because you can do multiplication, division, conversions, and we'll talk about that separately. Moving in, you have the main hour markers. Now these are actually the only kind of three-dimensional part of the dial. They're applied, and they have a lume filling to them. One thing that I actually really like about this watch is that though it's very busy in bright light, the lume, there's only a few things that are really lumed. The lume was used sparingly, so in the dark you only have essential information. You have the hour and minute hand, and you have these hour indices, and they glow a very attractive kind of icy blue. So it's kind of, I don't know, to me reminiscent of almost when they turn the lights out in a plane. It's very calm and kind of serene. It's a very nice feature, and it's very well designed. I also like that they used these kind of interesting, kind of more old-fashioned font for 12 and 6 here. I think it kind of refers to the history of the Pilot watch a little bit, and it's just a nice style feature. Moving in towards the center, you have these double arcs, which are used for the 24-hour or dual-time hand. And it's actually a very smart way of breaking up this information as well. So here you have this double-sided hand that has kind of these two plane-shaped pointers. One's white and one's red. When the white plane is within its arc, that's the arc that's telling the time. So right now it's saying it's just about 10 there. After it reaches 13, or 12 rather, the red hand will move in, and then you'll be reading that scale. It's very clear and it's very easy to read. This also, as you can see here, the watch is saying that it's 1:45, but this second time zone is saying, that it's 9:45. So these can be set separately, so you can have a 2 time zone watch. The main hour and minute hand are in a kind of a Roman sword style. Once again, that refers to, kind of aviator watches. And it's very clear, big, broad swords, so they're easy to read. On the right side, by 3 o'clock, you have Citizen Eco Drive written, then Nighthawk, WR200, Water Resist 200, and a date wheel at 3. The date's presented black on a white disc. It works with the aesthetic. It's easy to read. It's clear. So I wanted to show you a few things about setting the time of the Citizen Nighthawk. You pull the crown out to the second position, and now you can set the time as with a normal watch. And you'll see when I am turning it and changing the time that not only are the main hour and minute hand rotating, so is the inner 24-hour or GMT hand. So this is not where you're going to set a second time zone. You do that in the first position, which I'll show you now. So with the crown in the first position, when you turn the crown away from you, you'll see the hour hand is going to jump by single hour units. This is very useful, if you're traveling and you want to, you arrive in a different time zone. But you'll notice now that the internal or the inner 24-hour GMT hand isn't moving at all. So that'll probably stay with your home time, and then the larger hands are going to go to the arrival time. Similarly, turn the crown towards you and you can set the date. It has a quick date set function. The Citizen Nighthawk has a 22mm lug width, and it comes on this actually very nice stainless steel bracelet. It gets a kind of an oyster style, but it doesn't have flat links. Links have this kind of interesting teardrop shape, which I think provides actually a very nice texture to the bracelet that works with the styling of the case very well. You'll also see that the bracelet tapers from the 22mm down towards the buckle here, which makes it more comfortable. It has good wearability, and for a watch that's $237, I think that this bracelet is kind of actually a very good quality. Changing the links on here, it's not as easy as, say, with the Steinhardt, where you had screws that you take out. You do have to push these through, which can be a little tricky, but once you get used to doing it, it's not that bad. I myself had to take out, I think, 2 links from either side to get it to fit. I'll show you what it looks like on. One thing I really like is this clasp, which is signed Citizen. It has this kind of double lock on it, so you have this one lock which keeps it secure, and then it doesn't open. You have to push both of these in for it to release. So it's a very secure bracelet. I think it fits very well. It's very comfortable, and it's just kind of a good quality. The texturing on the bracelet works well with the kind of raw finish of the watch itself. It's very comfortable. Now, just looking at the watch on the wrist, it's a 41mm watch, but it wears much larger than that because it's all dial. And like I said, it's this very busy dial, so it really has a lot of presence. It's kind of hard to miss. In fact, I'd say of the watches I've worn recently, this has kind of garnered the most attention from non-watch people as well as watch people. So this is one option, and now I'll show you what it looks like on a leather strap, which is also very nice. So for another option, you can put this as a Nighthawk on a leather band. I happen to think it really kind of adds a nice look to it, brings out, I'd say a little bit of the kind of more vintage aspects of the watch, which you can see in the 12 and 6. Here I have it on a Hirsch brown leather strap, which has kind of a nice reddish leather to it, and white contrast stitching. I think the red in here kind of brings out the little bit of red in the dial. The black and the brown go nicely together. I think it's kind of a more fashionable option if the stainless steel bracelet is perhaps a little bit too cold for you. I know I've been kind of wearing it on the bracelet a lot because it's very comfortable, but this option I think is probably a little cooler looking. So, I think that just to sum everything up, the Citizen Nighthawk is really a great option for a watch. It's very well priced at $237. For that you get a dual time zone watch with a internal slide rule bezel. You get a decent quality stainless steel bracelet. Has a mineral crystal. It's solar powered, so you don't have to worry about changing the battery ever. And it's Citizen, so you know that it's a high quality movement in there that's going to keep good time. Yeah, I recommend it if you're looking for a decent quartz watch or a dual time zone watch. You don't want to spend a lot of money. Yeah, so this is Zach once again with Worn and Wound. Thank you for viewing. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, and anywhere else you can find us. Thank you.